Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Hey there, In It Together, SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor, and today we're talking about high blood pressure, hypertension. You know, it's called the silent killer, and it is affecting thousands of people every single day. But despite the grim details, there is hope. And there is information that can help you. We're going to talk about that information today with Dr. Sheryl Mitchell with the University of South Carolina and Dr. Daniel Lackland, a leading epidemiologist with the Medical University of South Carolina. They join us next to break it on down on Coping with COVID. But first, your COVID community updates. Columbia is requiring all city employees to be vaccinated, and they can get incentives for getting the shot by November 1st. Now, a total of $3,000 for frontline workers is available, $1,750 for essential workers, and $500 for any City of Columbia employee that is fully vaccinated. City Manager Teresa Wilson says while she understands everyone has philosophical differences, city workers are service providers to the public and are needed for Columbia to run effectively. Meanwhile, after consulting with local hospital leaders, the cities of Columbia and West Columbia are expected to order mandatory public mask ordinances today. Now, that will apply to all indoor public spaces. Casey passed a similar measurement yesterday. And the South Carolina State Fair is back in person this year, and today discount tickets go on sale. Go online for discount tickets and ride tickets, plus a family fun pack, which you can see there, including admission for 4, ride tickets for 2, and free admission to Carolina Lights Holiday Display in December for only $105. That sounds like a deal I'm going to check out myself. You can check it out on the State Fair website. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing in and around South Carolina. Visit scdhec.gov for more information. Also, if you are a veteran, all veterans are being handled by the VA. Again, you can contact the VA and get your COVID vaccine. Kroger pharmacies are offering COVID vaccinations. Check the screen for details there. Also, CVS pharmacies, the CVSs that are independent and also the CVSs located inside Target stores are all giving the COVID vaccination. Now, Brooklyn Baptist Church is actually starting up their COVID vaccination clinic Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. and then Saturday and Sunday from 1 until 4 every single day. You don't have to have an appointment. You can stop by Brooklyn Baptist Church on Sunset and get your COVID vaccination for free. Now, if you need a ride to get your vaccination, don't miss your shot. The Comet bus system is offering free rides to get your vaccine on the Comet. Also, if you are having some challenges registering to get your vaccine, Get Set Up is offering assistance for all seniors. Now, if you lost someone due to COVID, FEMA is offering funeral expenses reimbursement for anyone who had a COVID-related death in their family. Again, you can see that information on the screen. The South Carolina Bar Association and SC Legal Services is offering a toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. And there are several other pieces of assistance available. Richland County has a rental assistance program open. Go to richlandcountysc.gov. Lexington County has a bill assistance program, and Dominion Energy and SC Housing Bill Assistance Program is also available for rent and utilities. SC Housing additionally has a housing assistance program for frontline workers. If you're a frontline worker, you can check that out. And SC Hopes has launched a extensive program from the South Carolina Department of Mental Health for anyone having a challenge coping with COVID. Today is the last day of the No Judge, No Jail event at First Baptist Church. The Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office is offering a free event today from 5 until 8 at Trinity Baptist Church in Columbia, South Carolina. That's right near the Benedict College Stadium. Now, no police will be involved. All you have to do is, if you have any kind of open warrant, get your life back on track. I mean, I tell you, I've been going live from this event, and it's been such an incredible event where people just literally have been getting their lives back on track, afraid to go anywhere, afraid to be with their families for fear that they're going to get arrested and they're able to either get a new court date, get their warrant taken care of. Family court is there. They can help you. So many resources. And this is only the first of many events that the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office is going to have. It's going to be, again, today from 5 until 8 at Trinity Baptist Church. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. You're watching Wellness Wednesday on Coping with COVID from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina. I'm Tre Tailor, and hey, don't forget, we are streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page over on Facebook. That's the home of Coping with COVID. So please go over there, hit like, share, and follow so that not only you can watch Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can also get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button, and we would love for you to follow us there. We also have a presence on Instagram and on Twitter. Now, we're also streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page. Please go over there and do the same thing. Hit like and follow and share. I'm telling you, they have got so many great resources over there about diabetes prevention programs, all types of tips. And then, of course, you can watch Wellness Wednesday there every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, as a matter of fact, all the information that I just told you is going to be scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. So please check that out. And don't forget to post and share so we can get this information to the masses. We're talking today about hypertension, and there are just some amazing facts about hypertension. Almost half of the United States adults suffer from hypertension, and most of them don't even know it. To answer all the questions about why and give us some great tips, Dr. Sheryl Mitchell is with us again. She joined us last week with her colleagues from the Midlands of South Carolina Black Nurses Association. She's also Assistant Dean for Graduate Studies and Associate Professor at the University of South Carolina. Dr. Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me, why don't people know they have hypertension? That's so interesting.
Many times individuals don't know that they have it because it's silent. It's commonly known as the silent killer.
Yeah.
So most individuals won't have any symptoms. Like when other illnesses, we have symptoms, we get sick, so we immediately know that there's something wrong. With hypertension, that is not always the case. There are a few individuals that might have headaches, or they may have blurred vision or dizziness, but many individuals won't know until they go to see a healthcare provider that they have hypertension, or they might put their arms in one of the blood pressure machines in like a Walmart or one of the retail stores and discover that their blood pressure is high.
Yeah, well, you talked a little bit about a couple of the symptoms. I want to come back to that in a minute. And then you also said, of course, you can find out by going to the doctor. So since those symptoms are not across the board for everyone, should everyone just go to their doctor to see if they have hypertension?
It should be part of the physical that everyone should be having anyway. The other thing is to also know the family history. That can be a clue about whether or not you may develop high blood pressure. For example, if your mom has it, your dad has it, brother has it, sister has it, it seems like everyone has it, then there's a good chance that you'll probably develop high blood pressure at some point in your lifetime. But whenever you go in to see a healthcare provider, you should have your blood pressure checked, but also record what it is. So they're recording it in your medical chart. You should have something that you carry, whether or not you put it in your in an app in your phone, or if you have some kind of log that you keep with you, where you write down your blood pressure when you go in for your health visit, so that you have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, you mentioned if everyone in your family has it, that you should, make sure that you don't have it. So is it immediate family, Dr. Mitchell, or could it be your grandmom, your great uncle from 3 decades ago?
Typically, it is immediate family, mom, dad, and siblings. There are families that have it throughout, where it's mom, dad, siblings, aunts, uncles. It seems like grandma. It's just, there's a family that has a real prevalence of high blood pressure. But typically when we're looking at health history, we're asking about the immediate family.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned hypertension and high blood pressure. I wanted to ask, is it the same thing?
It is. So in healthcare, the official name, we call it hypertension. In the community, you're going to hear things like high blood pressure or the pressure. So it's shortened a couple different ways.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because we oftentimes hear them used interchangeably. Want to just make sure it is the same thing. Hypertension is high blood pressure. It's the same thing. So Dr. Sheryl Mitchell joins us as we have a conversation today about hypertension and high blood pressure because it is the same. And, she was saying earlier that you should just, if you have family history, go and find out. I tell you, Dr. Mitchell, that family history is a beast because you could be doing all the right things, and it just be genetically, you just have that genetics in you that you have a certain condition.
Yes. Health history, your family history plays a large role in your individual health. And that's why it's important that you ask those questions. So when families are gathering, you have all your relatives around the table, take the time and ask that question. Mom, dad, your siblings, do you have high blood pressure? Have you ever seen a healthcare provider and they said you have high blood pressure? The other part of it is, when were you diagnosed? It's a difference if someone is 20 and they're diagnosed with high blood pressure versus someone who is 60 or 70 and they're diagnosed with high blood pressure. So getting all those pieces helps you so that you can be proactive. Just because you have a strong family history of high blood pressure doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have the same outcomes.
So you mentioned that it's different if someone gets diagnosed at 60 as opposed to 20. What is the difference?
So when you think 20s, you're going to think about other things like, why is this 20-year-old being diagnosed with high blood pressure? Yeah. Now, if their mother or father were diagnosed at age 20, then it's probably family history. But you also have to think about other problems that could be causing high blood pressure. As we get older, our body changes, so our vessels also change. So as you get older, you'll see that your blood pressure may increase a little bit.
Yeah. So, if you are diagnosed at 20, is it not as big a deal as it is if you're over 40, 50, 60?
Oh, it's still a big deal.
Okay.
It's a big deal because the part that you want to do is to prevent the consequences of having high blood pressure.
Yeah.
So you don't want to say, oh, I'm 20, it's going to be fine, I'm not going to have any problems. What you want to have that talk with your healthcare provider is, I'm 20 years old and I want to live a long life and I want to have a high quality life. Yeah. And so what can I do now to prevent the consequences, prevent damage to my heart, prevent damage to my kidneys? How do I try to prevent having a stroke or a heart attack? We often think about strokes and heart attacks as being in the older person, but that's not necessarily the case. So at 20, you want to ask those questions and prevent those long-term consequences.
So how early should you, start asking your doctor to check your blood pressure to see if you have hypertension?
So once you turn about 20, you need to go in and have your blood pressure check, start having your physicals, and then based on your personal history, your family history, the healthcare provider will recommend when you need to come back to have the blood pressure check. The other thing is, if you're not say that you go in at age 20, but you get busy, because we all do. If you decide to check your blood pressure outside of the office, write that down so that when you go back, you can say, well, these are the numbers that I have been getting. So some individuals will also check at home, and it's important to write those numbers down.
Yeah, we're talking to Dr. Sheryl Mitchell, In It Together, Asst Dean and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. We're talking about hypertension, and interesting, Dr. Mitchell, you just said that at the age of 20, when you start getting those physicals, you should check for high blood pressure. But what about, some of these kids that are playing football and basketball and all of the sports in middle school and high school?
Oh, yes. When you go in, when a child is having a sports physical, their blood pressure should be checked at that time. Part of that sports physical should be looking at the child's family history, because you don't want to have that kid to have a sudden cardiac event while they're playing. We see that in the media where a kid is dead on the football field or perhaps playing basketball.
Yes.
So certainly when they go in for that sports physical, they should have their blood pressure checked, also their weight, to see where they are. And those conversations families need to participate in, because obviously when they're playing basketball or football, depending on the position, they want them at a certain weight, but you have to take everything into account, whether or not it's healthy for that kid.
Yeah. Well, we know, of course, most people know, you find out if you have high blood pressure by, as you said, you can, use the machine at Walmart, or you can go to your doctor. How often should you check after you have found out that you do or don't have high blood pressure at your physician? How often should you check?
So it's going to depend. So if you go into a healthcare provider's office and at that time they say that, well, your blood pressure is elevated. So the first step you need to understand is what the numbers mean. So we've all sat down in the chair and either a medical assistant or a nurse or someone has checked our blood pressure, and then they give you these top numbers and the bottom numbers, and they may say, okay, this is fine, or it's a little bit elevated, but you really don't understand what they mean when they say that. So that's the first thing outside of, and I should say second thing, because health family history should be the first, but the second thing is to understand the numbers, so that when someone says to you, oh, your blood pressure is 124/82, well, what does that mean? And some patients will say, well, is that good or bad? And they might go, oh, it's okay. So understanding that there are different parts of the diagnosis. So normal blood pressure is actually less than 120 now, and less than 80. So if your top number is less than 120 and your bottom number is less than 80, then you've got a normal blood pressure. But if you are 120 to 129 and less than 80, they're going to say it's elevated. It doesn't give you the diagnosis of high blood pressure at that point. Once you get to what we call stage 1, we'll say you have stage 1 high blood pressure, that's going to be 130 to 139, or your bottom number is 80 to 89. So it could be either your top number or your bottom number that's giving you that diagnosis. And then stage 2 is going to be anything that's greater than or equal to 140 or greater than or equal to 90. So understanding what those numbers are helps you to understand part of, okay, when do I need to check it? So let's say you go into a healthcare provider and they say, well, your blood pressure is 150/95. And we believe that you have high blood pressure because perhaps you were there before for something else and it was a high recording and no one said anything to you.
Right.
So at that point, you should begin to check your blood pressure. If they put you on medications, you'll want to check your blood pressure consistently at the same time every day. So if you check it at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's your time. If it's 8 o'clock at night, that's your time.
Because it could fluctuate throughout the day.
It fluctuates throughout the day. So that's why you want to pick a time that you can consistently check it. And then when you check it, if you purchase one of those home monitoring systems, you can buy them out of a pharmacy.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, you can take those. You can actually take those with you to your healthcare provider and double check it. So they did a manual, or perhaps they use the machine, and then compare what your machine gets so that you can see whether or not you're getting some similar numbers. But if you're at home, you want to do a couple things. You want to make sure that you haven't had anything to eat or drink about 30 minutes before you check your blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
You want to make sure you haven't had any caffeine, so no sodas, no teas or coffees or anything like that. No smoking about 30 minutes before you check your blood pressure.
Because all of that affects it.
All of that can cause your blood pressure to go up. And so what you want is to find out what is your blood pressure doing without anything artificially inflating it. And so you'll find an area in your home where you can put the machine on the cuff on your arm. You want to make sure that it's on your skin. So if you have a shirt on, slip your arm out of the sleeve and then put the cuff on. Make sure it's about chest level so that you can get an accurate reading. uncross your legs, because we all have this habit of sitting down, crossing our legs,
Yeah,
crossing
mine
our
are crossed
ankles.
right now.
So yeah, you want to uncross those, and you want your feet flat on the floor, and you just want it calm, and you want to take your blood pressure at that point. Write it down. What this does is it gives you an idea of what your blood pressure is. If you've been diagnosed with high blood pressure, you're able to take this log back to the healthcare provider, because remember, when you see the healthcare provider, they're seeing you at one point in time.
Yeah.
But if you've got, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whenever your return appointment is, and you can say, this is what's happening, then they have a better judge of how you're managing your blood pressure.
Yeah. Why does crossing your legs make a difference? I always wondered about that.
So, we have our arteries and veins, and so messing with those vessels and restricting that flow is going to cause your blood pressure to go up.
Yeah, makes perfect sense now that you said it. I couldn't think of it. That's why you're Dr. Sheryl Mitchell and I'm not. We're talking to Dr. Sheryl Mitchell. I'm Tre Tailor. You're watching Wellness Wednesday on Coping with COVID from In It Together, SC, and the Diabetes Advisory Council. We're talking about hypertension, high blood pressure, and why it is so important. Why is it so important, Sheryl, that we make sure we are monitoring our high blood pressure?
It's important that we monitor our high blood pressure because the consequences are great when we don't. So when you're proactive, you can prevent or delay those consequences. You can protect your kidneys. You can try to prevent things like strokes and heart attacks, because we're talking about longevity and quality of life. When blood pressure is ignored because we don't feel it, the silent killer, things happen like heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, congestive heart failure. All those other diseases then become subsequent problems that you have to deal with. So that's why we need to make sure that we're monitoring our blood pressure to prevent those. And if you've already been diagnosed with high blood pressure, then you want to make sure that you're maintaining that quality of life that you currently have.
Yeah, awesome. You mentioned that it is genetic. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, Blacks, African Americans, and Latinx are more prone to have it. Why is that?
Some thought to that. It can be diet. If we think about our culture and diets that we eat, we do know that things that we do influence our blood pressure. If we think about the common diet in a Black household, there are things that we eat that we enjoy, that we associate with having a good time with our family.
Yeah.
We think about our collard greens, but we don't necessarily cook them the healthy way. We think about all the stuff that we add into it because it tastes great. We like our fried chicken. I like fried chicken. But we have to just be careful about eating it. So we think about the cultural things that we do, and meals are a big part of our culture. That's the time we sit down, we laugh, we joke, and we think about, the food. If we think about memories that we had growing up, a lot of it's centered around food, getting together and eating. And so that's part of it. And then the other part of it is when we're thinking about treatment, historically, Blacks and other minorities may not have been part of the research trials. So the information may not be out there as much. It's getting better, though.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, girl. The fact that, we as Black and brown people really need to be more active in participating in research trials. I mean, we all know why there is hesitation, but I tell you, I stress so much that the only way we can find out what works for us is if we participate, because everyone's genetics are different, and it really does matter to test something or on someone of the same ethnic background or different ethnic backgrounds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the participating in research, but the other things that we have to think about that's affecting the minority community's access to health care.
Yeah.
Having primary providers in communities that minorities can go see. When you think about access to food, and not just any type of food, nutritious food. So having those grocery stores that provide the organic meats and the fresh vegetables, and making sure that they can be
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or TaylorMade Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow, won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
How will you remember the year 2020? COVID.
Losing my job.
Working 12-hour shifts in a mask.
Losing my grandma to COVID.
COVID has claimed thousands in South Carolina and strained our health system, schools, businesses, and families. If you're struggling and need to talk, call SC Hopes. That free call can help put you in touch with people who can help. This goes for healthcare workers, teachers, restaurant employees, parents, anyone and everyone. SC Hopes, mental health and addiction support for challenging times.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul Cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or TaylorMade Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style Cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today. Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
Dr. Lackland, can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Hi, I'm sorry. We're experiencing technical difficulties. We're going to go up with you next. Is that okay?
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right. We're going to be talking a little more about hypertension, talking about some of the medications. Is that
okay?
You think, and what else?
If you want to put some COVID in, we can do that too.
That would be perfect. If we could end with that, that would be great.
All right. Sounds great.
All right. Sounds great. All right. Stand by. I'm going to bring you up in a minute.
Got you.
Looks like I'm doing the interview. Okay. I can do that. Oh boy. Sorry, sir. Hold on one second.
No worries.
Thank you.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or Tailor Made Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or Tailor Made Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Hi, my name is Ariel. I'm sorry, we're just going to bring you up right there. My name is Ariel, and I am filling in right now for Trey, as we are obviously having some technical difficulties with everything.
Understand, no worries.
I appreciate it. We are with currently Dr. Daniel Lackland, and we are talking about hypertension and what we can do about it. And Doctor, we have been talking about this earlier as we started to experience our technical difficulties. But let's talk about hypertension. Let's get into it. And Trey's with us. Okay.
Great to see you. It's great to see my friend. Great.
Praise. All right.
Welcome, Ariel. Thank you.
No
Listen,
problem.
this is a live broadcast, so anything can happen.
It's exactly right.
That's right. Okay, I'll step out if you want me to.
Thank you, Ariel. That's totally up to you. Totally up to you. I want to say hi to James Edward Peoples. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Dr. Lackland, when we were talking before with Dr. I'm back. She told us a little bit about information causes. We already talked about causes and she even and we may have cut off before she was telling us about the things that we can do as far as our diet. But with you, Dr. Lackland, I really want to talk about medications because we've heard a lot about certain types of medications for diabetes, not for diabetes, for hypertension,
right.
High blood pressure. Can you tell us about some of the medications that people can take if they have high blood pressure?
It's wonderful, and it's a great question. And in fact, when you did say diabetes, most all of us know hypertension and diabetes go hand in hand with many of us. So it's there, and so these treatments are very fine. As you've already discussed, lifestyle and behaviors are critically important in this. And so the medications are not substitutes for a good lifestyle, a weight loss, exercise, reducing salt, eating a very, very good diet. It's more of a complement to the medications that you put up just a second ago. These are the classes of drugs that have for decades been done in many, many studies and have been shown to, in one sense, reduce blood pressure, of course, but also reduce the risk of stroke, of heart disease, and of kidney disease. So it's kind of doing two different things. It's lowering our risk because we've reduced our blood pressure, but it's also affecting those the cardiovascular system, the cerebrovascular system, and the renal vascular system as well.
Yeah. So are there better or worse medications depending on your ethnicity, your age, your height, your weight, your gender?
It's a great question. And not so much on the demographics, but sometimes with the other conditions that we have. So you mentioned diabetes. Some of these classes of drugs will be a little bit better for you if you also have diabetes. Some of them make it better tolerated. And because you have 4 classes and they all work, one of the good things that we found recently is that you might be put on more than one medication. You might be on 2 medications, like I am, or maybe 3 medications, even all 4 medications. That shouldn't disturb you, because one of the pieces that you have is that you put people on relatively low doses of a medication, and then you don't have the side effects that we've heard about in the past. 20 years ago, there used to be side effects with these drugs. Today, at the low doses, you don't have those side effects near what you did have, and you're also getting the benefit of, because each of these agents do something a little bit different, and so now you're getting the benefit of multiple agents when you're on multiple combination.
So,
but as you just
odd. I'm sorry. So it's not odd to be on multiple medications to control your high blood pressure.
Right. It's even now the norm. The guidelines are going to say it's better to be on 2 drugs, on 3 drugs at a lower dose than on just 1 drug at a maximum dose. And then you've reduced your risk factors. You've reduced the risk factors, but you've also reduced the side effects that we've seen in the past with some of the medication.
Let's talk about some of those side effects. Dr. Lackland, Dr. Daniel Lackland joins us with the Medical University of South Carolina. What are some of the side effects?
Well, these are listed up here very, very nicely. When you have a severe headache, confusion, vision problems, chest pain, all of those. And I think, unfortunately, what you also have to put up there with the side effects of hypertension is a stroke. Sometimes a stroke is the first sign that an individual has had with blood pressure, a heart attack, or kidney disease and kidney failure. And those are, and you said that very nicely, these are the signs of severe blood pressure. And more often than when you get to the severe blood pressure, that's when it starts to get to be kind of rough. And so you want to catch it early. It's an easy blood pressure. We all have had a blood pressure measured. It doesn't hurt. It's an easy thing to do. You can even do it at home. And maybe we should bring in the home blood pressure monitoring and monitor our blood pressures ourselves, know what those individual values are, and catch it before you start to have those symptoms of high blood pressure.
Right. So what about as far as the medication is concerned? What are some of the side effects of medication that people need to be conscientious about?
Well, with the hypertension medication, as we've said, it's been fairly minimal. Now, if you take a diuretic, diuretics make you go to the bathroom. That's what their job is. That's what their purpose is. So you may find yourself, a little bit more frequently going to the bathroom. But for the most part, the side effects for the current modern medicines for high blood pressure are really very, very minimal. And the good part is that you're lowering blood pressure, but you're also lowering your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah, Dr. Daniel Lackland joins us, professor of epidemiology, Medical University of South Carolina. We want to talk a little bit about COVID in just a few minutes. But before I go to that, Dr. Lackland, do you know of any natural remedies, non-medical, non-prescription remedies, or things that'll help if folks have high blood pressure, hypertension?
Well, we catch it early, and certainly what we have known, body size, that you lose some weight, your blood pressure is going to come down.
Right.
You do know, I think I'm going to jump around just a tad bit. You've got a low sodium diet. We all, myself included, we all eat too much salt. If we reduce the salt in our diet, and to be cognizant of that, we can also lower our blood pressure. Mm-hmm. Exercise, as is listed in here, is a good way to do it. Certainly quitting smoking. Alcohol in moderation at best, and that means no more than 2 drinks a day. And it doesn't mean, well, I'm going to save up and for the weekend and have 14 drinks.
Binge, right?
Yeah, it doesn't mean that. It means truly in moderation, and even reducing alcohol does affect our blood pressure. So we can do those lifestyle things, and even though many of us, myself included, I do the lifestyle things, but still my blood pressure is high and I'm on medication. But by keeping my lifestyle good, it's going to help me lower blood pressure accordingly. These are the guidelines, and it's so important. The main thing that we can learn, each of us, is know what our blood pressure is now. Right. If you don't know what your blood pressure is, go get it checked or check it yourself. But know what it is, and know what the systolic, that's the top number, and the diastolic, that's the bottom number. The ideal blood pressure that you're all shooting for is less than 120/80. Anything above that starts to see they're elevated and starts to build its way into hypertension. So we want to get, and the blood pressure is one of those great things, really the lower the better. So even if I've achieved, if my blood pressure is in the 120s/80, I still want to keep my blood pressure low. So I'm going to keep doing whatever I am doing. If it's medication or lifestyle or both, I'm going to continue doing that, shooting for that, getting my blood pressure less than 120/80. Your blood pressure is not fine. Your blood pressure is a systolic and diastolic number, and we all need to know that, just like our weight.
Right.
We need to know our weight. We need to know our blood pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we are in the midst of COVID. Everyone is, encouraging folks to get their vaccination. Are there any concerns people with that take some of these high blood pressure medicines need to be conscientious about as far as the vaccine is concerned?
Trey, I am very pleased to tell you at the early onset of COVID and the pandemic, we weren't sure. And the answer, as we've discussed, you and I have discussed before, we didn't know before.
Right.
Now we have followed people, and at least at this point, those of us with high blood pressure, we should be okay. We should be able to be vaccinated without any problem at all. I've received my vaccination, and but you want to get that information from people that you trust and bring it forward. So you should talk with your doctor, but whoever you trust, and giving you the information. That's where you want to get that information. And but right now, in my opinion, there is no evidence that the vaccination and the immunizations is affecting it one way or another. So there's a good benefit for being vaccinated if you have high blood pressure and taking medication.
In it together, SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. We're talking to epidemiologist Dr. Daniel Lackland with MUSC. And Dr. Lackland, I see a question from Juliet Green. She says, I did a lifestyle change, exercise, eating, and taking 2 blood sugar capsules daily and lowered my A1C. And she said her pressure is on point now. Thank you, Juliet, for your statement. Was
Well
that
done.
a good thing that she did? Did she?
I think she obviously is doing her lifestyle, and that's a good indication that lifestyle can lower. But again, it goes back. I've got to know my blood pressure levels, and Juliet very nicely said, I know what my blood pressure is, and it's low. Yeah. So we can't just, well, I'm going to do lifestyle, I'm not going to take my medication. That's not the way it works. I'm going to measure my blood pressure and make sure that my blood pressure is down. How I got it down, good. But if it's not down, then I might need to take the medications. But I should feel very comfortable in taking the medications and not having any bad risk associated with the medications.
Yeah, because the bottom line is it's a fatal disease. It's a fatal condition, rather. It's a fatal condition. Before you go, Dr. Lackland, I do want to ask you a couple of COVID questions. Is there any update that you know of as far as the vaccine for children under 12? We are seeing that, and I don't know about over at MUSC, a high percentage of new COVID cases are kids. I mean, kids are back in school. Some are masked, some are unmasked. So what are we seeing anything as far as any new research as far as COVID vaccines for children?
Yeah, it's a fabulous question, and it certainly is one that is being asked. On the good side, it is being investigated. There's considerable research going specifically into this part, and particularly, I think, with the Delta variant, and that's driving some of this because this variant is more contagious, and where the Alpha variant did not seem to be affecting children, the Delta variant seems to be. All the things that you said, that's just right on. At this moment, we are not there to see vaccinations. We don't have enough information to make it. And when you're doing the vaccinations, you're looking at 2 different things. You're looking certainly at the benefit, the efficacy. Does it prevent the disease, and does it prevent the outcomes from the disease, but also does the vaccination itself do a harm? And so looking at those are very, very important. Certainly with our children, we want to make sure that we get it right, not guessing and not doing anything else. We want to make sure we get it right. We are doing the research there. I think that answer is going to come very, very soon. And but you're having to weigh it. So very important. The risk of taking it, the harm that you might be doing, as well as the benefit. Right now, it looks like the benefit is going to be there. You just want to make sure that that harm is not there, particularly with children.
Yeah. Also, what about, can you talk a little bit about this new variant that we've been hearing about?
Which one is it? Is it the Delta or the?
No, the new one.
The Gamma. The Gamma.
Yeah.
We know very we know some, and we know that it's come in there. The prevalence or the number of people that have it are considerably lower, and particularly in our area, but that might be that we're dealing with the Delta variant. A little bit of, if there's some good news in all of these terrible numbers, particularly at this particular time, there was a recent report coming out that we think that there have been many more people infected with the COVID, at least of some different variant, than we had originally thought so. And that's, we just kind of missed them. They didn't have symptoms or whatever. And that has been greater. If there is good news to share today, I'd like to share that there is the good hope that maybe more people were infected and maybe they have built up immunities. If we combine it with the vaccine, please get your vaccinations. We think that that's safe. Then that's going to be the way we don't have to worry about these variants in the future if we can wipe this disease out right now. And that's the way that we need to do it.
Right. So right now it's not in the United States. Is that correct, Dr.?
If it is, it's in a very, very small number of cases.
Right.
So it certainly is nothing like what we're seeing with the Delta variant.
Right. But it could very well come.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if we're all immunized,
yeah,
then we can send it on its way.
Right. 2 more quick questions before I let you go. Does the current vaccination protect us against all of COVID, the Delta, the Gamma, the Beta, the Max, any past presidents?
You're asking these $1 million questions, and I think it's a great question. It looks like it looks like it does offer protection, just building it up. Does it protect against totally 100% against everybody? That doesn't look like. There looks like these breakthrough cases and this that we do see, but those are relatively rare. The other piece, though, that does look to be important. It's how severe is the infection after you get it, and it looks like those that have been vaccinated, the severity is, while they are infected and while you do have some symptoms, you don't have those symptoms where you're going to the hospital, and you don't have the symptoms that last a long time.
Right.
And it certainly looks like the deaths are dramatically reduced with the vaccination. And I think that's an important piece to keep in your mind.
Absolutely. And booster shots is the last thing I want to ask about. I heard someone say last week on the show that she had already gotten her booster shot. So and you've gotten yours. So tell us a little bit, when do you get your booster shot? How long after you've had your vaccine do you get it?
It's the conventional wisdom that we went through here has been that you want to be about 6 months after in my case, I had my second shot about 6 months ago, had the opportunity to get the booster, and I did that. That could potentially change as we learn more and more, and remembering that the original shots were for the Alpha for the Alpha variant. Now you're putting that a little bit more complicated, that, do we get it earlier for the Delta variant? Do we, how important is that? And we're learning more and more and more every day, so that there's going to be a really good answer, evidence-based answer to your question very, very soon, I feel.
And that's just, though, for the Moderna and the Pfizer, right? Not yet for the J&J.
That's correct, but we're learning what we're going to pick up there, and I think you'll see things for the J&J very soon too.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we need to cover, Dr. Lackland? I hadn't seen you in a long time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, anytime. Everybody know your blood pressure, and it's always a pleasure. And anytime we can be of help, we certainly are happy to be so.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel Lackland. He is the professor of epidemiology at the Medical University of South Carolina, and we're always glad to have him on Coping with COVID. Thank you so much, Dr. Lackland.
Thank you.
In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. And listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please go to the Tailor Made production page and inbox me. I would love for you to be a guest on Coping with COVID. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwith@tretailor@gmail.com. That information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina. Also, the Computers Unique, Jet Square Mall, Palmetto Painting Services, Agape Counseling and Training Services, also the Comet Bus System, Javis Tax Service, and the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson. I want to remind you that the Solicitor's Office is having their No Judge, No Jail event that is coming up tonight from 5 until 8 o'clock. If you have an open warrant, you don't have to worry about it. You can come by and get your situation resolved today from 5 until 8 p.m. They're working on some other events also, but today you definitely want to do that. Now, tomorrow, we are going to be live at the masterclass. The Auntie Karen Foundation, which is celebrating 20 years of empowering and educating and enlightening through the arts, is partnering with the University of South Carolina Color of Music Festival for the 18th annual Legends of Concert Series. And one of the highlights of the concert series, which is this Friday night featuring Vanessa Williams, as you can see, is the masterclass. Every year, an artist will come in and speak to an auditorium of students at a Richland District 1 school. But these are students from all over the state, and the artist will tell their story. Now, these events are amazing. I mean, it's been everything from Sheila E. showing kids how to play the percussion, and to Gladys Knight walking up and down. I remember that year. She walked back and forth in her red bottom shoes telling her story. And who was that? I'm trying to think. The Isley Brothers sang and played, and then I'm trying to think of what artist. Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau taught the kids how to scat. So this is such an amazing time for these young people. And tomorrow we are going to be broadcasting live. Thank you. Shout out to my girlfriend Karen Alexander for allowing us to broadcast live at the Legends of Concert Series Masterclass. Two great things that I want to tell you about. Cam West, who was one of the finalists on The Voice, who lives in South Carolina, in Columbia, as a matter of fact. He is going to be singing for Vanessa Williams, as is Tanae Freeman. She is an amazing singer that I just had the opportunity of getting to know. She and Cam are going to perform on the All-Star Band, which opens for Vanessa Williams, and they're going to get a chance to sing for Vanessa Williams. So that is going to be amazing. I'm excited about it, and I look forward to sharing it with you too. That's tomorrow. As I leave, as always, we leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling, because I got to get in this car line, y'all. September 8th, listen, God says, accept each day. Good God Almighty, I needed to hear this today, exactly as it comes to you. Not only the circumstances of your day, but also the condition of your body. Your assignment is to trust God absolutely, resting in my sovereignty and faithfulness. On some days, your circumstances and your physical condition feel out of balance. The demands on you seem far greater than your strength. Days like that present a choice between two alternatives: giving up or relying on me. Jesus says, even if you wrongly choose the first alternative, he will not reject you. You can turn to God at any point, and he will help you crawl out of the mire of discouragement. He says, I will infuse my strength into you moment by moment, giving you all that you need for this day. Trust me, God says, by relying on my empowering presence. The scripture there says, why are you downcast, oh my soul? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God, and I will yet praise him, my Savior. That's from Psalms 42:5. That's your Jesus Calling for today, Wednesday, September 8th. Thank you guys so much again for joining us on Coping with COVID. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Take care. Stay safe. It's a thunderstorm out there in Columbia anyway. And please get your vaccine. And don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. Blessings to you.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.